Hey guys, welcome back to the channel McNallie Money, home of all things stock, investment, and personal finance related. Now for today's video, we've got a couple big things we're going to be covering. Number one is Q4 earnings from Corsair Gaming, and secondly is actually a partnership between Corsair and ESE Entertainment, which is one of the small cap penny stocks we recently reviewed on the channel. So I feel like the second piece of news was actually overshadowed by the big earnings results. And I think it's worth mentioning because this is a really big opportunity, in my personal opinion, for both companies. Now, before we get into it, please take a second, you guys, hit the like button. It's a huge help to myself and the channel. It really helps get this content to other people like yourself who may find value. If you're not already subscribed, McNallie Money, feel free to do so. We actually just crossed the 3,100 subscriber milestone, so I wanted to thank each and every one of you for your support of the channel. And with that being said, let's get into today's video. Okay guys, so that's right. Today's video, I wanted to cover two specific topics. Number one, we're going to talk about Corsair Gaming's Q4 results. So earnings just came out yesterday. A lot of excitement in the YouTube community around this company. This is one I'm personally invested in. So I know on my channel, we talk a lot about small caps, penny stocks, that type of thing. I also have a portfolio that's focused on larger US-based companies. Corsair Gaming is definitely one of my bigger positions there. In terms of my trade strategy, I have a lot of long-term call options, so you'll notice that's a trend with me. We just talked about that in relation to Hut 8 mining. So I have January 2023 and January 2024 call options or contracts on Corsair Gaming in the neighborhood of maybe $5,000 to $6,000 worth. So this is one that I definitely pay attention to. Now we're going to talk about their earnings first up in today's video, but before we do, I did want to get into the weird or unusual price action we saw with Corsair over yesterday's trading session. So I went and I grabbed a screenshot as of close of yesterday. Then we're going to talk about a partnership with a company by the name of ESE Entertainment. So this is a small cap penny stock that we've reviewed on the channel. And I think this partnership, the news of it was really overshadowed by the earnings. So I wanted to bring it up because I don't feel like a lot of YouTubers or media outlets really caught this piece of news or talking about this major development specifically for ESE Entertainment. Now, Corsair Gaming went public about a year and a half ago, and they were actually trading as high as $45 US per share back in February of 2021. So they really have fallen off a cliff here over the last few quarters, and they're now trading at essentially half or just under half of what they were about a year ago. And I think in terms of the low end, they bottomed out at about $17.50 US. So they do seem to have found bottom, and they've had a little bit of a run. But with that being said, what was super curious to me is when earnings came out yesterday, in after hours trading, this company was down about 11. And we can actually see based on close yesterday, they ended the day or the session up 4.3%. And I think that peculiar trading activity really does have to do with some institutional investment in this company, specifically Eagle Tree Capital. So we're not going to go into that in a lot of detail, but it's definitely worth noting. And you can see throughout yesterday's session, the company opened up at about $19.40 and trended upward consistently throughout the day to close out at $21.30 US. Now, based on that close, you're getting a market cap just north of $2 billion US. So keep that $2 billion number in mind as we now move into the earnings report. Now there's two other graphics or charts I wanted to quickly pull up before we get into that earnings report. These are both from Stock Unlock. So number one is total quarterly revenue graphed out here over the last few years. So one of the big reasons I feel Corsair Gaming has pulled back is you can see revenue actually peaked out here about a year ago at $556 million. And since then we've seen a gradual decline. Now a lot of this is supply chain based. Obviously Corsair Gaming was a big beneficiary of work from home and the pandemic lockdown situation. People were stuck at home indoors, and a lot of them turned to gaming, and as a result upgraded their gaming systems or peripherals, add-ons, things like that that Corsair actually markets and sells. But with that being said, we have seen a little bit of a decrease here, you guys, and I think that's really shaken out investors or scared them off. So that's one thing to call out here. And the other thing I wanted to bring up is actually analyst price targets. So even on the low end, you can see analysts are expecting about $24 per share from Corsair Gaming over the next 12 months. On the high end, we're flirting back at those $40 US levels that we saw back in February of last year. And realistically, I think the average $31.28 is definitely attainable, especially given the very exciting earnings that we're going to talk about next up in the video. So here we are, Corsair Gaming reports fourth quarter and full year financial results. This came out after market close on Tuesday, February 8th. Now I'm not going to spend a lot of time going through this earnings report. This has been covered extensively on the YouTube community, but there are a couple of numbers that I really wanted to point out. So record annual revenues of $1.9 billion for 2021. Now keep in mind, market cap on Corsair is essentially $2 billion. So they're really trading at one-time sales right now, which to me is very astonishing considering this is a growth company in a very exciting industry. Now that 1.9 billion represents an increase of just under 12% year over year. So they're showing year over year growth. Gamer and peripheral segment came in at 650 million, which was up 20% year over year. And gaming components and system segments, which is the biggest portion of Corsair's revenue, came in at 1.26 billion, which is up 8.1% year over year. And keep in mind, those numbers are compressed due to the supply chain challenges they talked about in their Q3 results. Now, net income came in at 101 million or $1.01 per diluted share, which is down slightly compared to last year. Adjusted net income came in at 145 million or $1.45 per share, which is basically in line with last year. And adjusted EBITDA came in at 199 million compared to 213 last year. So they are down slightly in adjusted EBITDA. But again, I think those are based on some short-term headwinds that we're seeing that I expect to clear up towards the back half of 2022. And if we look at Q4 specifically and we compare to that high or that record quarter we just talked about of 556 million in Q4 of 2020, we're actually fairly close, coming in at 510.6 million, which was well above the pre-pandemic fourth quarter levels. So my bullish thesis here, you guys, is yes, the pandemic really did speed up the adoption of gaming and a lot of the purchases, but I think a lot of those people are really going to continue that trend or that hobby post-pandemic. And Corsair has really attracted a huge group of new customers that are going to be repeat customers for years and years to come. And that's exactly what Andy Paul, who's the CEO of Corsair Gaming, goes on to say after the extraordinary growth we saw in 2020 caused by gamers spending more time at home gaming and the large growth in the creator economy. We are pleased to see that after lockdowns and shelter at home were lifted, our Q4 2021 net revenues were within about 8% of those record levels we saw within Q4 of 2020. Despite the ongoing logistical and supply chain challenges impacting markets, which I just alluded to, including the lack of availability of reasonably priced GPUs in the retail channel, we experienced healthy growth over 2020 in both of our operating segments. And this is really going to be a catalyst, I think, for the company moving forward. As the price of GPUs comes down, people are now, or gamers specifically, are now going to choose to upgrade their platforms. And a lot of times, rather than just upgrading or replacing specific parts, gamers are going to choose to overhaul their entire system or machine. So in terms of earnings, I was super excited to see this. I was honestly shocked yesterday in after hours when I saw the company was trading down in excess of 10-11%. And I'm super happy to see the market actually woke up and treated Corsair Gaming with the respect that I think they deserve based on a very healthy quarter and very healthy fiscal year. So now we're going to shift gears and talk about the second big development here. This came out on Monday, so February 7th, just a day before earnings, and that's why I think it was really overshadowed by the results we just talked about. ESE partners with Corsair for digital motorsports marketplace. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with ESE Entertainment, we're going to talk about them in a second here, but essentially they're a gaming-based company. They bought a company called Digital Motorsports that really focuses on high-end racing simulators and simulating games. And they've now signed a reseller agreement with Corsair Gaming to distribute a whole variety of premium gaming PCs, peripherals, streaming headwear, ambient lighting, and different products to actually enhance the digital motorsports marketplace and experience. So obviously Corsair Gaming is known for their premium pre-built gaming PCs, and they're now going to offer a range of additional gaming gear, which includes keyboard, headsets, mice, monitors, mouse pads, and again, that ambient lighting and accessories to enhance the user experience. So the CEO of Digital Motorsports goes on to say, Digital Motorsports' vision is to be recognized as the #1 brand for next generation motorsports. To achieve this, we need to be the go-to marketplace for Tier 1 simulators and esports solutions. We're very excited to become an official reseller for Corsair's products, which are market leaders for innovation, quality, and performance when it comes to professional gaming products. So #1, this is going to enhance the experience for ESE Entertainment customers, specifically Digital Motorsports customers. It's going to offer additional SKUs for them to resell on their platform, which is going to drive revenue for the company. And for people like myself who are invested in Corsair Gaming, this is going to provide another partnership and additional revenue for Corsair moving into subsequent quarters. So really a win-win on both sides of the fence. Now, I'm not personally or currently invested in ESE Entertainment, but this is definitely one that's on the top of my watch list, and I am looking actively at starting up a position here. And with that being said, for those of you who aren't super familiar with this company, again, this is a penny stock. You can see here it's trading in the $1.23 range. And if we pull up a 6-month graph on ESE Entertainment, you can see they peaked out this year at $1.63, so they have pulled back. And I think we are starting to see some strong support right around the $1.15 Canadian level, and that's probably where I'm going to look to enter a position. So market cap on ESE is a fraction of Corsair Gaming. It comes in under $75 million Canadian, and obviously that's why we covered it on the channel, because I really try and focus on small cap Canadian penny stocks that are up and coming to put on your guys' watch list. Now, ESE has a whole portfolio of different companies within their umbrella, but specifically Digital Motorsports. This was acquired in September of 2021, a worldwide leader in simulation racing, e-commerce, and esports. And they've actually got a number of partnerships with leading motorsports companies and automakers around the world to really enhance that experience through multiple different business synergies. And you can see on the next slide here, some of those relationships include Porsche, Kia, and other car manufacturers worldwide, really with the goal to expand simulated racing experience and business globally. And that really becomes evident when you look at some of the partnerships and relationships with some of the highest caliber racing authorities in the world, which include NASCAR, Indy, MotoGP. This company also has a race or track scanning component to it, where they can actually go in and map out existing racetracks and develop custom race simulators for race car drivers to actually practice on. And that's exactly what you see here with their custom race simulators. So as you can see, these are extremely high quality, fully immersive, and this is where they're really going to plug in some of those peripherals and add-ons from Corsair Gaming. So with that being said, you guys, I think this is a phenomenal partnership. It really does make sense. It's super logical in my mind. I think this was huge news specifically for ESE Entertainment that was really overshadowed by the big earnings report that we saw from Corsair Gaming this week. And I think it's just one more reason to add ESE Entertainment onto your watch list and to take a serious look at this company if you're looking for exposure to gaming, esports, and race simulation type of companies. With that being said, super happy with Corsair Gaming's results. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on both of these pieces of news or developments in the comment section below. Let me know what you thought of Corsair's earnings, if you're currently holding shares, and what you think about ESE Entertainment as a potential investment. In addition to that, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, McNallie Money, feel free to do so. And if you're still watching the video at this point in time, make sure you hit the like button, you guys. It's a huge help to both myself and the channel. That's all for now. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.